My name is Mike Panzita. I am the city's project manager for this project, phase 2 of the Penn Ave Reconstruction project. So normally we have Jan from our one of our communications staff do all this, but he cannot come, so bear with me, the nerdy engineer, as I try to go through all the communication stuff. So quick overview of what we're going to do tonight. We'll do quick introductions of the project team. I'll run through our standard meeting norms that we do for every meeting. We do a safety overview as well. I will do a quick zip through of the project scope of work. We'll talk through what to expect with traffic control during construction. Excuse me. Talk about the timeline we're looking at right now, the communications plan that we've developed, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. So introductions. I'm Mike Panzita. I am the design project manager for this project. I would say Patrick Bopp is still on his way in. I know he's running a little late and getting parking, but he is our manager who works on the construction side for most of these federally funded projects. We have James here from Council District 7. I didn't see anybody that I recognized from Council District 9, but they are also adjacent and have been involved with this project. Up front, there's Patrick. Up front, if you have not signed in, you have Jacob Williams. He is one of our comms people at DOMI, new staff with us recently. And then Jan, he's generally the face of these projects in terms of the communication side. I'm sure most of you guys have met him in the past. So that's all the city side. We also have some representatives from our contractor, Reconstruction. That's Brandon right there, and Angelo. And then we have Mike McCart with WRA. He's our construction manager for during construction. All right, meeting norms. We want to respect everyone's physical and psychological safety. We were here to listen and to learn. We want to assume everyone's best intentions throughout the meeting. We want to hopefully not disagree, but if so, do it respectfully. Appreciate everyone's differences, be open to new ideas, and to be present while we're here. And then a quick safety review. We've got 2 exits right here. I might look to the BGC people about if we have a AED in the facility. Okay, we'll look to Alonso if God forbid, we need one. And then for emergencies, if there is one, I will call 911. If I am the emergency, Jacob, can you please save my life? Thank you. Quick purpose of the meeting. And so, this project has been around for quite some time. We've been meeting with, many people over the years. We're getting to the point where we are about to begin construction. We've worked with, several neighbors, neighborhood groups. We wanted to, bring the project team to you guys to, talk about what to expect during construction, see the faces of the people who will be involved day to day, and all that. So we want to introduce the project team. We do want to just quickly go through what the scope of work will be, and we do have a printout over there of the entire work area and what we're doing. We'll explain kind of like how we're going to phase through the project and what the detour is going to look like. We had some temporary traffic calming measures that were requested that we put in. I'll quickly zip through those. We'll talk through the current timeline. And then we have developed like a communications plan for putting out information kind of at a regular pace during construction. Project scope of work is complete reconstruction of Penn Avenue within the project area. We're doing street, sidewalk, curb, traffic signals. We are including a raised pedestrian intersection at the Pacific intersection, new lighting, and there is a public art component to the project as well. This is kind of an old diagram, but it shows the project area. So the part on the left, the yellow, is phase 1 that was already done. So starting at the end of where we dropped off, we essentially have 4 blocks of complete reconstruction all the way to Graham Street here at the end. Okay, detour. And I do have a diagram later to walk through it. So I know this is a lot of words. So throughout construction, westbound traffic will remain on Penn Avenue. So inbound traffic into the city will remain there. It'll shift around as we do the construction, but we'll be maintaining that traffic. Eastbound through traffic will be detoured. Within the construction area, local traffic will be maintained aside from, the active work zone. Let's see. Yeah, the detour is intended for like through traffic, and we were asked to include some examples of like ways to navigate through the neighborhood, which we include in later slides. We have some, in phase one, we understand that there was some cut through traffic on Friendship Ave. So in some of the neighborhood streets, Friendship, Weinbittle, Graham, and Roop, we are putting in temporary speed humps as part of the construction. And then access across Penn, so the cross streets will be maintained. But, when we construct the intersections, there may be, short times where it's restricted or cut to half of the street at a time as we're working on that. For buses, bikes, and pedestrians, the neighborway is going to be maintained. We worked with our traffic group, out of worries of cut-through traffic overwhelming the neighborway. We are making a small change to Coral, which I also have a diagram of later, to try to prevent that cut-through traffic as much as possible for eastbound people trying to cheat the detour. Later, we'll show what the bus detour is, and we're working with Port Authority to get that kind of finalized and make sure that they're all on board with what they need to do to get the detour on, but they are working with us on that. Pedestrian access will be maintained during construction. When the sidewalks are being worked on, there will be a diverter, and our team will work with the various property owners and businesses to maintain access to the buildings for pedestrians. And then the Pogo station will be temporarily removed during construction. We've been working with Pogo to facilitate that. All right, here is the detour. So if you are heading westbound via car on Penn, you just take Penn. That'll be maintained the whole time. If you are heading kind of from downtown eastbound to go through the project area, you'll be detoured at Main Street, take Liberty, Liberty to Baum to Negley, and then you can continue on Penn. Our bus detour is to take Weinbittle to Friendship, go these 6 blocks to Roop, and then rejoin Penn at that point, and then continue on. For traffic coming from the north side of Penn, like the neighborhood area, for eastbound traffic, there'll be a detour that'll pick you up on Broad and drop you off on Penn eastbound at Fairmount. I think that's all the aspects of it. Here is our adjustment for the Coral Street neighborway. So between Aiken and Latham, we are switching it to be a one-way westbound for vehicular traffic and keeping the two-way traffic for bikes to prevent that cut-through movement for people trying to cheat the detour. We can see how it works and figure out how we want to do it. I've talked through it with the traffic people and TBD. And yeah, so let's quick kind of run through like some examples of how you might navigate from like within the neighborhoods. So if you are in the middle of Friendship and you want to go to work downtown, you would just kind of get to Penn and go westbound because that's still open. If you're kind of similar area and you're going east to get to the Target in East Liberty, you would not take Penn, you would zip down to the detour and get there that way. If you're coming from the west and you're dropping off at Montessori, you would, because you're doing, you have a local destination, you could hop onto Penn. You would divert out on Weinbittle before the construction, get to your destination, and then you can use Penn westbound to get back home, or whatever you need to do. If you're coming, say, from the north, and you're going to Kidsville, you hop onto Aiken, go south, do the drop-off, and then just kind of go back the way you go, because the access across Penn will still be maintained. If you need to take the 88 to Bakery Square, for instance, and that would be an eastbound movement, you would go, a couple extra blocks over and pick it up where where the eastbound bus detour rejoins Penn. I actually asked Port Authority today what their plan was for whether they would install new eastbound stops at the cross streets on Friendship on the detour, so that is still to be determined. So that'll come. And that's it. So quickly to go through the construction phasing, we are going one block at a time, starting on the south side of Penn, and we'll do the roadway first. So we will move the westbound traffic to kind of a wider lane with a bit of a buffer between the work zone. So this is inbound here. We'll be working on the roadway. Sidewalk will be maintained at that point. There'll be a construction fence to to protect the pedestrians. We'll do all the roadway work, and then for that same block, we will then move the through pedestrian traffic onto a walkway on the other side, and then work on the sidewalks. And we'll have access to the individual properties, but the kind of pedestrian through walkway will be where we just built the roadway. So we'll do that one block at a time. We'll go to the next block, still on the south side, go through our 4-ish blocks of construction, and then go back to the beginning and do the same thing, on the other side of the street, starting with the roadway, sidewalk, next block, roadway, sidewalk, and then march our way down.
How long does each walk take?
The entire, sorry for you guys. Sorry, we're recording this to put on, but the question was, how long will each block take? The overall project duration is about 2 years. 2 divided by 8-ish. I don't have it at the top of my head, but we can look at the construction phasing and rough it out and send it around. And this is just kind of a walkthrough. So south side, we go 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Then do the north side of the street, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it will be road, sidewalk, road, sidewalk, road, sidewalk, road, sidewalk, and then the other side of the street. Just to talk through our construction details, the work hours are pretty standard, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Friday. The Gulasek has worked with the children's home to use the empty lot where the church used to be for construction staging. And then the businesses and the residential properties along the corridor, access will be maintained, and, we will work with the property owners and the businesses, with the team that we have here, through construction to make sure that access is maintained. If we need to do driveway widths half at a time or something like that to maintain things, this is all standard stuff that we do for construction projects. Just to kind of get some of the team. So we'll have a construction inspector who is on site at all times when work is being done. They keep their eyes, the city's eyes on the project. They make sure everything is built to the city's and PennDOT standards. They keep track of quantities. and they work, with the contractor, every single day whenever they're working. The construction manager, that's Mike. He's like the liaison between PennDOT and the city and the contractor. He keeps us on schedule, under budget. He pulls together the invoices to pay the contractor, and he will be, between the office and the site as needed. He'll help work out like day-to-day issues. If they need to be elevated to the city, then we'll work those things out. And he makes some of the decisions, some of them come to me. It all comes to the team. We are going to share Mike's contact info with the leadership of Bloomfield, Garfield, and Friendship neighborhood groups, so that they can have a relationship, so that they can give him a ring. We don't want everyone in the neighborhood to be calling him. We kind of want to do it through the neighborhood group channels, but we will share the context of those organizations with him. And we have Jan's contact here. He's kind of like my liaison for all of my projects. Obviously, if there's emergency, call 911, but non-emergency, feel free to contact Jan. His full information is also at the end of the presentation. And also, I don't think I said this, we'll put this presentation on the Engage page. City Channel's here recording. We'll put the recording on Engage page too. Sadly, it will have my face on it. Trying to make me look good. Timeline. So the contractor has notice to proceed issued. They have started to send us, materials to approve, things to order. They have mobilized on site. I assume the trailer is up at this point. No?
Not yet. We're
okay.
We're going to start see some stuff in the law field first.
Okay.
So can I ask a good question about this? Because even though you did an NCP, I live on Friendship Avenue. I have received no information about this detour except from the meeting from November 7th and then this meeting at all. When will the city inform the people that live on Friendship Avenue about the detours and the possible issues that could happen, including the people?
The question was about kind of implementation of the MPT and the detours. We do have a communications plan that I'll get to in a couple slides, and we'll zip through it at that point, if that works. But we are looking to install the detour in March, coinciding with when work begins. South half of the street, we're estimating about a year. North half of the street, about a year. And then kind of in that spring little cleanup area, or cleanup time where we plant the trees, we put in the tree grates and those kinds of things. But the roadway work per schedule right now is anticipated to be done in March of 2028.
So do you plan on letting the people that live on Friendship Avenue know about the detour and the bus detour and the speed bumps?
Yeah. Can we? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because we have the people online can't hear or whatever.
Sure.
So for the project, we want to push information out on a regular basis to the public to kind of let everyone know where we're at with the project, what's coming in the weeks ahead. So we'll probably have either a monthly or a bi-weekly project team meeting to discuss the project, how it's going, invoicing, We're going to have Jan and Jacob on those calls. Jan is going to pull together like an email blast to send out to anyone who signs up for it. And I think he wants to put it on the Engage page as well. And we're planning on doing that on a similar phasing. Every 2 weeks, we'll be putting out information about where we're at and what to expect next. If you are interested in that, put your email address on the sign-in sheet at the front where Jacob's at. We also have an Engage page for the project where if you hit follow, you'll be alerted for these kind of information blasts that we'll be putting out. So things like when the detours, we plan to start them in February. We'll be putting out information before the detour gets put in via these communications things. Naturally, we'll be talking with like Bloomfield, Garfield, and Friendship to let them know. But that is our plan to put out communications on like a regular cadence. I think that's it. So that's Jan's contact information. Feel free to take that down. Oh wait, where's the microphone? Yeah, okay, you guys got it in the back. So now we'll do questions, but make sure that when you ask a question, get the microphone, so it'll be on the recording, and the YouTube people can hear. So Jacob's got it. So if anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand.
See first hand over here. Here you are.
Is there going to be coordination with PWSA? For example, we just got a notice that they're going to replace lead lines to our buildings. So is there going to be coordination between what DOMI is doing and what PWSA is doing and what the gas company is doing?
So PWSA and the utilities, sorry, I'm just writing this down. They do work with our permitting group, so they have to get permits for all their work. They'll be aware of what we are doing and where we're at, and we'll coordinate it through the permitting process. But I will check in with those guys and see like what the timeline is for PWSA that they have.
Well, we got a notice that they're coming.
Did it have a date? Okay. No? Okay. And where 5400 block of Penn. Okay.
You have a subsequent.
Yeah. And we've been doing annual big and kind of quarterly small meetings with the utilities to coordinate overlapping projects. We started doing it like in a formal way last year, and it's been really successful. So we'll be getting started with that for the 2026 construction season pretty soon. So I'll make sure that we include that in the coordination there.
Hi, Mike. If we have a cement wheelchair ramp in front of our front door, will you be replacing that?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question. Saw your hand first.
Hi, I just wanted to know what kind of diverter you're going to have for coral. Is it going to be paint? Is it going to be physical? I couldn't see it on the picture I took.
I believe it's paint and flex posts, but let me double check. Oh God, we have to go back and roll these.
My eyesight's not that good, I'm sorry.
It might just be paint, but I can talk to our traffic people and just take a second look at it and see if, or we can also assess it once it's in, and if there's non-compliance, we can work with like our sign shop or other people to do additional work.
Okay, and my second question is that the reason why you're not going to put temporary speed humps on Coral too? I'm just curious, because I'm part of Friendship Livable Streets, and we did a speed study, and we saw that 76% of drivers were speeding in the Montessori school zone. So obviously, that's a concern. I have a kid, so I'd love temporary speed bumps or something, especially with this, because there's going to be a lot of cars flying through.
I can talk to our traffic calming people and see, have you put in a request for traffic calming, like formally through, I know that they have a system to...
I've been in contact with Councilman Mosley and Councilman Gross.
Okay.
Yeah. And they've seen the study too.
Okay.
Thank you.
See a hand over here. I'm gonna come around the table. Sorry. There you are.
So I have a couple of quick questions. As mentioned, I live on Friendship. We've received no notice from any of the community organizations about the detour or the speed humps, except I got information last November. And there are people on the street that don't sign up for emails or look at the Engage PGH page. So how do you, I would hope and encourage you to kind of look at ways in which you communicate with everybody, not just those of us who have access to that kind of information. So that's one large concern of mine, because it can be easily flyered. It's not a long detour, it can be easily flyered. I lived through phase one, so I have a huge number of concerns. when you talk about cheating the detour, that's what's going to happen on Friendship Avenue, even with the speed humps, is people will cheat the detour because Liberty Avenue's red lights, their lights will, unless they're coordinated in some way to move traffic a little bit more fluidly, I think that what we'll see on Friendship Avenue is an increased number of people that are cheating the detour. Coral's not going to cheat the detour. It'll be Friendship Avenue for sure. Because right now people cheat Liberty Avenue because they just cut up through the neighborhood to get to wherever they're going, which is completely fine. They're all public roads. And then the final kind of question is, so there's two issues going on. The draft, which there'll be a lot of rental activities in these neighborhoods. And then the other one is PennDOT is closing the bridge for 2 months in the summer. And one of the things that we know will happen is people will come through the neighborhoods to get to town. So how will and can the city accommodate all of that? Even though inbound's going to be open on Penn, there's going to be a lot of people from out of town for 4 or 5 days here, significant numbers of people out of town for 4 or 5 days. And then also people that are driving into town to try to get to town because of the, they'll come down Allegheny River Boulevard or they'll figure out ways to get around. We'll probably use either Baum Boulevard and then Bigelow or Friendship. So kind of thinking about the overall impact of a major, major, major city construction.
Yeah, I mean, I think for out-of-towners, I mean, I would hope that they would be following the sign detour if they don't know where they're going. I mean, we can talk to, I know we have contacts with like the Google Maps people, so I can talk, is Ernie does that? Yeah, we can talk to our staff that reaches out to them to, figure out a way to get the closure on Google Maps so that it routes people like the correct way.
Is there a way that, I mean, in phase one, they signed Friendship because people will cut off of Penn, they'll come from Penn, they'll come down Friendship Avenue from Children's Hospital to avoid anything instead of going to Liberty. Is there a way that it can be signed to say neighborhood or through traffic only or residential traffic, however it's legally phrased as a sign? I mean, the city makes its own sign, so why couldn't it happen would be my question. But signing it so then at least there are kind of a warning system in some ways.
I can ask our traffic people. I mean, my understanding is that typically like we try not to put up unenforceable signs because it leads to like sign fatigue and cluttering of the roadway. But I'll take a note and put it down. Yeah.
18-wheelers come down Friendship now. So, and they come for deliveries at some point, but they also come to avoid the traffic on Liberty.
See a hand over here.
So I live near Maine, like on 44th, and there's always traffic on Maine with the buses and the trucks. And so how are you gonna think about that when you're talking about that being part of the detour? It's already really hard for a bus and a car, because people apparently are afraid of the bus, to go down there. It is very congested when they were doing construction on Penn Avenue and are still doing construction on Penn Avenue. And it takes me 15, 20 minutes to get to Montessori. And it's literally like not that far. So how is that going to be prevented? Because then I also go through Friendship to cut through Liberty traffic to get to Montessori.
If your destination is in the neighborhood, though, you would use you would use the neighborhood streets like that. That's like what we're trying to do with the detour is the through traffic to avoid that going through. If you're going from like downtown to Wilkinsburg or whatever.
But what I'm saying is, right on where Penn Avenue and Main meet, it's traffic jam all the time. The ambulance, the bus, the car, people that don't like to wait at the light or follow the signs that say, if you're going straight, stick to the right, they go to the left. Because that's what it used to be before, but it got changed. And so I guess I'm I can't figure out how adding more people to that is going to be useful, especially for people that are on bikes. Because when construction's happening, I switch to bikes, and that is a whole mess.
There's that alleyway.
Yeah, but
Cut through, right? And then you can't get out.
but then cars are cutting through that now, so it's not even safe for people on bikes. But yeah, sorry, I'll pass it on.
Oh. Hi, I have a few questions. I live on South Pacific Avenue in the 200 block next to the Aldi. So I'm in sort of like the construction area. And I also lived through the first phase, which was, of course, a disaster. My first question is regarding what she was just mentioning about the current Penn Avenue construction. Is that going to be complete by March when the new demo begins?
Yes, is my understanding. I'm
Okay.
working with our permits group that works with the utilities, letting them know timelines. And I told him that it essentially needs to be restored for the westbound traffic
Okay.
in advance of our work coming through. I talked to him yesterday about it. He was reaching out to the utilities to tell them what to do, get confirmations and all that. But we'll keep you guys in the loop on that as it
Okay.
develops too, because I know that's a huge, obviously a huge
It is,
thing,
and
yeah.
along with that, and somebody had mentioned PWSA work, we got notice that our telephone poles or our electric poles are going to be replaced in the 200 blocks of South Pacific Avenue. And so I'm not sure how that gets coordinated. So if you could just put that on your list to follow up on how we would coordinate that. And then those are like neighborhood kind of things, but my personal questions are, I do a lot of shopping on Penn Avenue. I try to stay local. The last time the pedestrian walkways were very dark. And I'm concerned because I saw that the walkway was kind of in towards the street. Are you planning on lighting those walkways, and how would you be lighting those walkways for the pedestrians at nighttime?
At this point, we don't have that in the thing, but I imagine that's something we can explore, putting there's a pretty standard string light that we put on construction fencing and things like that, right?
Okay. It just for
just looking out
safety and for, watching for the big dips in the road and those kinds of things would be great. Also, the last time around, the last time around, everybody parked in the streets, in the residential streets. I know that you were saying that the construction equipment and the construction vehicle, the dump trucks and things will be parking up on the hillside. But what about the private contractor vehicles? Where will they be parking? Is there enough room, and will they be told to park also in the children's home parking lot on the hill, or will they be parking in the neighborhoods because we just don't have enough room for them?
What's your guys' plan?
And will they be enforcing the parking permit?
The DD areas aren't very,
Yeah.
we're not gonna have
I'll just repeat it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna have massive crews out there, so we're planning on hopefully keeping the guys up in the yard.
Okay.
And just for the people online, they're planning on parking in this staging yard.
Okay, because even if you add 20 cars, they're trucks, right? So they're longer than normal, they're taller than normal, they're harder to get around the corners than normal. And if that ends up being the case, what we had to do the last time around was lift residential parking permit restrictions, because we had to allow for people on the north side of Penn Avenue, where the trucks were parking there, to be able to park on the south side of Penn Avenue. But because they don't have permit parking there, they were getting tickets if they would park in the BB area. Is that making sense to you? I'm talking, we'll call it, the trucks were parking in front of Garfield Homes, and Garfield Homes didn't have any place to park. So of course they were parking on the Friendship side, but those are BB areas, and they were getting tickets, which is terrible. And so I want to just really make sure we have a plan of attack Because a $45 ticket for somebody just really is it's not great.
I hear you.
And then my final question is, if there are emergency updates that, we knocked down the telephone pole or the traffic light, and this section of people are not going to have power when you get home from work today. Or we're gonna have to be digging up the sewer or the water, so we have to do an emergency shut off. How, if you're doing the emails every 2 weeks, which I think is awesome, that's great. But Jan certainly can't call everybody in the neighborhood and say, hey, by the way, expect no water, we're hoping to have it on by 11. How will we get, because those things happened the last time, and I expect them to happen because accidents happen, or you find weird things going on under the ground.
Right, and I think Jacob would probably put out like some level of a press release, and then I think, especially for water, I would assume we'd use like PWSA's robocall. They have an ability to do robocalls, I believe, and kind of put things out too.
They do. They just didn't do it the last time because they were not the ones that were on site dealing with the problem.
Okay. Well, maybe we can yell at them. I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm sure there are different avenues. We'll probably work with the council district. Those kind of emergency things will be all hands on deck.
Okay,
And,
but there would not be a robocall for this project, is what you're saying. Like, Domi wouldn't have a robocall system for the people that live
I
in the
know
affected
we don't
area.
have one.
Okay.
I know in the past I've used PWSAs for things, but I don't know if we still can do that. I don't know. I think that's changed. But we'll work, with the council district. We'll work with the neighborhood groups. We'll get out here and, we'll do all hands on deck.
Thank you. I'm done. Thank you so much.
See a hand back here, and then I'm going to get to you. Thank you.
I just had a follow-up about coordination with the other utilities. And I think you mentioned you guys do like a yearly meeting?
No, it's more monthly or quarterly.
Monthly?
we've been
Okay.
doing, yeah.
So-
we do a big one each year to talk about like
Okay.
upcoming construction.
Because the last phase, it just seemed like it was incredibly siloed, and it was just a very clear picture into how things kind of work. And the siloing, it was just incredibly difficult for homeowners, residents, business owners, when things got ripped up on one person's plan and then covered up on another person's plan and then ripped up again the next week. And then, and I just, as on behalf of the people who work and live in this area, urge you to please, for the love of God, coordinate. Just pick one person in a spreadsheet to like kind of map it out. I know you have a lot of moving parts, but thinking about it from your perspective, there's so much going on, but thinking about it from our perspective, it's like our lives and our livelihoods. So really putting some thought and effort into regular communications for not just the things that you think are important, but the things that actually impact all of our lives, and especially our livelihoods. The last phase and the phase before that, put out businesses, like put them out of business. So just really paying attention to how all of this really affects us on that ground level, not in the minutia of what you're doing, but in the big picture of what it's like to live through it.
Yeah,
So
totally.
just please think about that.
This will be kind of the second year that we're doing like the real, like having all the utilities get together to talk about overlapping projects. And in terms of like breaking the silos, it has, at least from my like anecdotal experience, been really helpful.
And then
a major
also
step.
looping in PennDOT.
Yep, they will be. Yeah, they are project partners. Our PennDOT rep wasn't able to be here, but they are integral to the project and will be with us every step of the way.
Awesome. Except meetings.
Pardon?
Except the meeting.
Oh, sorry.
They don't come to the meeting.
In the future, though.
Yes, and we have high hopes that it is significantly better than the last time.
If I could piggyback on that, please.
We saw this summer, it was a nightmare with the digging up of Penn Avenue, and at the intersection of Main and Penn, it was just horrible. Traffic was like completely backed up. And during one of those weeks, that was when Duquesne Light decided to replace utility poles on Main Street. And I mean, it was like a joke. I mean, it really was. Why they chose that time whenever you've got a giant hole in the middle of Penn and Main, it was really bad timing.
Yeah.
So I think they need to, and I know City Council has talked about this for decades, trying to get them to coordinate, so good luck.
Can I go? Okay. Hi, my name is Jen. I am a proud parent of two lovely daughters who attend Pittsburgh Public Montessori. And I was just wondering, what, if any, measures are you taking to ensure, the safety of kids who are walking and biking to school, especially on the Coral Street Neighborway, Friendship Avenue? Even this red square here is oftentimes just normally kind of hot mess express during school hours. And there's a lot of danger with these crosswalks. Cars don't really slow down for the zebra stripes or anything like that. And I just anticipate that gets worse during this. So how can we protect our sweet, young, innocent children?
And Waldorf.
And Waldorf. And just anyone. Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's
Do it for the children.
yeah, no, dangerous driving is a major problem. Believe me, there's a lot that I would, we're doing the best we can with the traffic calming throughout. We're trying to work on the neighbor way here. It's, the issues are, like you said, they're neighborhood wide, and the project scope is only on Penn Ave, and I don't know. Yeah.
Hello, my wife just opened the store on Penn, so she's got a lot of questions. I used to work for the city, but I won't get on my soapbox, but is there something in writing that this will be done at the set time? Because I come from New Jersey. If they go over one day, they have to pay the municipality back. So is there something in writing that they will be done on this date? I understand weather issues, but there should be a way to try to work around that, because I'm assuming in the first phase of this part is going to, that side of the street will be March of 27. So what's going to be happening between November of 26 and March of 27 if we get slammed with weather? All this should have been talked through before someone even put a pen to paper, because again, this is common sense, and this should be looked at because it happens every year. So I think it's something that really needs to be discussed between all parties involved, that, if there's a weather issue and they're put back like a month and a half, the whole project gets pushed back a month and a half. So people are now inconvenienced for a lot longer. And again, this could be, kind of rectified, just so, to me, it's common sense that every little aspect of this project should be gone over with a fine-tooth comb. The city isn't known for due diligence, so especially a project like this and how many people it's going to affect, due diligence must be done to cover every aspect, what might happen, what might not happen. And just is, the work time is, I'm just throwing out 7 to 3. Is the crew's just going to clean up everything, not leave it like someone just dropped the bomb on Penn Avenue or whatever street's being worked on? Because again, people are still living in the neighborhood. So, cleanup to me is also high on the list. And parking on Penn, is that going to be available for customers, for the businesses on Penn? Or, I'm hoping that construction parking is, again, I would put it outside of the construction area and just shuttle the people in. To me, that's, common sense. So, are the businesses and the families in the construction area going to be able to live their lives without a lot of disruption and inconvenience for, till 2028?
I'd say part of that is why we phased it out one block at a time. One of the things we heard from phase 1 was that they kind of tore up the entire street and then kind of left it, like you said, like a bomb went off. So we're keeping it limited to manageable chunks at a time that will be done. Then you go to the next part, do it and it's done, do it and it's done. I think you asked about timelines. So the contract, this is a PennDOT oversight project. And Mike, if I say something wrong, you're an old PennDOT guy, I know. So there is a defined end date to that contract. If it is to go over, the contractor has to supply an act like a legitimate justification to extend that contract. Again, if we have a month and a half of bad weather,
You want to be working 6 days a week?
it is,
Work until 6 o'clock at night. You have a week, everything I need.
yeah.
Sorry. And just like for the first Fridays in Garfield, how are they going to be handled with this project?
Pedestrian access will be maintained the whole time, yeah.
All right, okay, thank you.
So I hand at the very front of the room, and then I'll get you next.
Can you go back to the Montessori detour? Sure.
I wouldn't call it that's like a suggestion, we'll call that, but.
Okay. So is it only on the project area that Penn Ave is one-way inbound?
Outside of the project area, yes, there'll be local traffic on Penn.
Okay.
Like you're saying, the through traffic is what we don't want to go because it will be, eastbound will be closed, under construction, in the phase that's being worked on at that time. But you can still get around within the, the envelope of the detour, if that makes sense.
So at Maine, when people are directed to go towards Liberty, is that where there's going to be a sign that says local traffic only?
It'll say, through.
Right.
I don't have the sign up in front of me, but it's like a standard detour thing. It's like if you're going through, you go there. But you can still get into the area.
Okay.
It won't be like close.
So if I'm a driver who's not in the know and I'm coming up Penn and I'm at that intersection,
you would see like the detour ahead sign. Penn Ave detour ahead, Penn Ave detour ahead, back 500 feet, 250 feet, 100 feet, and then it would tell you to go onto Main.
What if you go back? You're right there on the green where it tells you to go down.
On Line Biddle. You're going to have to eventually get off of it, yeah.
And you're going to go down Line Biddle.
Yeah.
On Liberty. Or
You'd go
on
there.
Friendship, which is why we want the sign. And we love Montessori and we love Waldorf. We love it, and I watch the kids and their parents drive all the time, or walk too. A lot of walkers.
yeah. Okay, thank you. And then for the speed humps that you've talked about, do you know like placement number? Because I'm on that 200 block of Weinbittle, and we already have people flying down the street. So I'm excited for traffic calming.
It's on this one, but it's hard to see.
Can we have like 5?
Pardon?
Can we have 5 speed humps?
All the roads throughout Friendship.
Traffic calming is our #1 most requested service in Domi, but I mean, I think we have, 2 people that work on traffic calming projects, maybe 3 for the entire city. So put in the request though.
Right. So on here, can you see at all where they would be?
I
Or
don't
not
know,
really?
We have several on Friendship, and then I believe we have it on Wine-Biddle between Penn and Friendship. I think we have 2 on Roop.
Okay, so just
We can,
kind of in the
before we
middle
put
of
them
the
in, we'll
block.
put it in the email blocks,
right.
like where they're coming in.
Thank
And
you.
could you also let people know via flyer, because everybody doesn't have email, everybody doesn't sign up.
Those are
Yeah. We got it. Sorry.
How you doing? I have 2 quick questions. First, in 2022, the announced budget was about $9 million for this project, putting a project at a cost of about $29 million per mile amortized out. Is that project budget still at $9 million, or has it gone up since '22?
Contract is 9.5, I think. Right? I think your contract, I believe it's, yeah, it's like 9.5 million for construction.
So over $29 million per mile amortized out.
I mean, yeah, I would say it's an urban street. There's a lot going on, yeah.
Well, yeah, I just, there's similar projects. There was just one that was completed in Jacksonville. That was it ended up about 20 million per mile. Reseda Boulevard in Los Angeles was just done. Very similar, but plus bike lane and bus island. That was at $6 million per mile. Taxpayers are now being asked to pay, or property owners are asked to be paying a 20% increase starting next year. Has anyone considered that the cost of this project is expensive?
Yeah. Well, I'll say 80% of the project is coming from federal funds.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is a FHWA project. That's why PennDOT has oversight for it. So the city's only paying 20% of the project costs.
Yeah, about 2 million?
Pardon?
Is that about 2 million?
Give or take, yeah.
Good. The second question would be, the detour that was designed, has that been modeled? Have you run this through any software? Or is this just, you looked at it and this is what you think will work?
I can double check with the design engineer. I was not on this project from the beginning. I started it in final design, and the detour was kind of set at that point. I mean,
because I don't know, right now, if you were to go down to Fairmont and try to make that left today without anything major, just in regular traffic, that left is almost impossible to make. That intersection is already very dangerous. Now you're making it so everyone's going to come out at Roop and make a right turn going outbound. You're going to have traffic coming up Penn, and then you're going to tell these people from Garfield, your way out of this whole mess is to go down and try to make a left onto Penn off of Friendship. It just feels like this was designed without any familiarity with the area.
I mean, I guess they can also go down Broad to Negley and take that to get to the signalized intersection to get to Penn as well.
Is this mapped, so this detour is, as it's drawn, is this going to be what the signs say?
Yeah.
To make a right, go down Fairmont, and then try to make a left onto Penn?
Yeah.
Can we get you to reconsider that and then take it all the way down to
I'll write it down.
Negley?
Especially because there are so few pedestrian crosswalks in that area as well. So pedestrians are already playing proper.
I just, even if at some point in the middle of the day, you get to go to that intersection and just look at it, I think you'll see that detouring all the westbound traffic to try to make a left turn across traffic makes no sense. But it's a stop sign now. I mean, it's frankly embarrassing that like this little amount of planning has been put into this. Given that last time you guys put people out of business, you devalued homes. And now we're just supposed to take your word for it that everyone's going to work together, and these people don't even show up to the meeting. It's embarrassing. That's the other.
I was going to say, we've been discussing this for years. I'm sorry, yeah.
This is your job. This is just astounding how poorly this whole thing is handled. Gotcha. Thank you.
I probably have some simple questions. First, I think the last time you presented, I want to thank you for, I think I emailed you a couple times. You're very responsive.
Oh, thanks.
So, I just want to let folks know that I had all my questions answered, so I do really appreciate that. I live on the corner right over here on Pacific and Penn, so this is going to be exciting, to say the least. But I just had a couple quick questions. So westbound, the buses, 88 will still go westbound, is that correct? It's not being detoured?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the phase 1, phase 2, when you get to phase 2, because I'm on the north side, will you start at Eveline again and keep doing block by block, or will you start at the far end? And
No,
go,
we'll
like-
start back at the beginning is the plan. Yeah.
Great. All right. That was for my questions. Thank you.
Pardon my reach, sorry.
So I just have basically two questions. The first one is, obviously there's already still construction in the neighborhood. I think it was supposed to finish up last fall with the utility work and things like that. You said that's going to be done, but we'll see. 45th and Penn, the children's construction still has that closed, which really bottlenecks the whole intersection we've been talking about, 44th and Main. And as somebody who lives on Rosetta and Winebiddle, I have a one-way street, so I pretty much have to go through Matilda and Penn unless I go illegally the wrong way down Rosetta or whatever. And trying to get home, pretty much my road of access is going to be Broad Street and Negley to get up through that neighborhood just so I can avoid Penn. So two questions, I guess, is as somebody who sat in traffic on Penn Avenue going from Matilda without any way to turn off of Penn Avenue, heading towards Children's, so westbound, it's never been a volume issue. Like, we don't have that much traffic on Penn Avenue. We don't have that much volume. It's just not timed correctly. The lights suck. So I sat at a light for, whatever the cycle of, I'm not saying 30 seconds is going to make or break me as the lights and the pedestrians and everything, but the lights aren't synced. So you can sit on a corner and then the light cycles through and nobody creeps through because of a bus or because of a construction or because somebody's flagging. But just syncing the lights or turning the lights off and having a blinker for, peak interests, if we're closing an intersection or a disaster happens or something happens, put a person there and flag and, business as usual. Has any other kind of throttling or kind of coordination to sync the lights so that traffic can flow with these new traffic configurations? Specifically, like coming down Broad to Negley is like, it's a residential to residential throughway with Negley, but turning left onto Negley is a blind corner because of the topography, and turning right is relatively easy. But just thinking of the extra traffic that's going to be coming from the residents of Garfield onto Negley, has anything been done to, I don't think it makes sense to put a light there or anything else. So I'm not saying like my world is the center of the universe, but it seems like the Garfield residents will use that because it's the only street that flows that direction. And then kind of thinking of Winebiddle's also going to be flowing that direction and is going to be handling a lot more volume. Or sorry, the other direction, and it's going to be handling a lot more volume. Has anything been done to kind of allow traffic to flow? Because that seems like what the issue is. It doesn't seem like there's a huge volume. It seems like traffic just doesn't flow effectively.
And that's just baseline, like all the time.
Right now, even if you turned off all the construction and everything, none of the lights are synced.
Yeah.
I used to live in Oakland. Oakland has a beautiful system where the lights are synced. The section of Penn Avenue that has been done, you can go from Pacific all the way to Matilda and never hit a red light. And I'm not saying that's the best solution, but there's not stop-go traffic. Has any studies been done? Like, I can go from Pacific, hit the light on whatever Graham, and then hit the light again at Penn, and then hit the light again right by Whole Foods or whatever. Like, you continually just keep hitting red light after red light after red light, which isn't about me, it's about the flow of traffic, which just slows this whole mess down, which then pisses people off because they don't want to shop in the business district. Or somebody who runs a small business in the neighborhood, I have to run multiple trips back up to my house. It's going to add 20 minutes in each direction, which is really going to ruin my day.
I can talk to our signals people and see if they've studied the corridor. I'm not sure. It sounds like a project that spans beyond, it sounds like a project that spans beyond this construction, like you were saying.
Sure, I mean, this has been a nightmare for the current and past construction because like sitting in traffic for 20 minutes shouldn't have been sitting in traffic for an extra 20 minutes just to go from Matilda to Children's. Like there was never like an alternative route to go, and now people are going to be creative and use these alternative routes. But are those alternative routes going to be able to handle the volume, and are the lights going to be synced to handle those extra turns and detours? Because that would seem to make sense, and nobody ever seems to handle that. And this is a 2-year process. This isn't like 3 months.
Right. I'll talk to the signal people.
Okay.
Is there a hand arm?
No, you're good. Hi, Armin. I'm the chair of Better Streets Lawrenceville and a Friendship resident, and I live on the Neighborway, and I know we've talked a lot, mostly to Councilman Gross's office, about the Neighborway and the detours in Phase 1, so I really appreciate seeing something being done here because it sounds like at least our voices were listened to. I am concerned that 100 feet of one-way isn't enough to stop people from using the Neighborway, which is Coral Street, as a detour. And I am not a traffic engineer. You've got traffic engineers here. If you're convinced, great. Let's say 3 months into the project, there is a ton of fast-moving traffic on the Neighborway. I took the Neighborway here today. I saw 4 kids. One of them was learning how to use a crosswalk. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. That's what the Neighborway is about, is people going slowly. There's no sidewalks in the middle of the road. If this 100 feet of one-way doesn't fix the problem, is there recourse, or is this fixed? Because I kind of expect that at this point that's fixed, but I would like to have something happen partway through the project, whether that's diverters or something else. I would like to be able to say, hey, this isn't working well enough. Here's some evidence. What can we do? Is there a chance to have that conversation or to do more than we're doing upfront?
I would say as part of the project, this is what we're going to do. If we see that there are still issues, we can work with our traffic group, but we would do it like via using city forces, if that makes sense.
Sure. So there is room for iteration if this 100 feet of one-way isn't enough.
Yeah, I would say that.
We'll be able to
work it through with our traffic calming group and figure that out. Yeah.
Great.
I just want to highlight what somebody just said about the unsynced lights on Liberty. So just wanted to have you make a note about that. If you're also going to look at Penn, when you're on Liberty, it can take a really long time to go all the way through. And since that's a highlighted detour, I think that's also very important to get those lights synced.
Thank you. See a hand over there.
I am excited that you will be giving us routine updates, like every 2 weeks, and it'll be on the Engage page, emails and whatever. But is there an opportunity for us to give you feedback? For, hey, the Neighborway is still crazy, or hey, they're parking like crazy in the streets, or we're getting parking tickets, or whatever that it happens to be, that you're pushing information to us, but will there be set times quarterly, every 6 months, that we're able to give you feedback on how we're viewing the project on the ground as residents and business owners?
I would reach out to Jan, he works with neighbors all day, every day for similar things, for projects that are under construction and for other issues. So I don't think it needs to be like a big blast. So I would say if you're seeing an issue, send something to him and we'll figure it out.
Okay. And then when you were doing the phase, the 8, right? The 8 little segments. After each segment, is that going to be a temporary asphalt, or is the concrete going to be going in then?
Done. It's everything.
Concrete's going in. Okay. That seems strange, but okay. That's because then when you're nearing the end, you're keeping all of your materials and your things on the pavement. So then you're going to be using the fresh new concrete and you're going to be dumping all of your stuff on it.
That's for the contract. I was like, yeah,
okay, that's fine. If that's what's happening, that's fine. That's up to you guys. Yeah. Okay. It's up to us.
Just a quick follow-up about traffic modeling. So again, I live on Friendship Avenue. I've lived here for 30 years, and there is no stop sign at Wine Biddle. But there's a stop sign at Eveline, and then there's a traffic light at South Pacific, or there's a stop sign at South Pacific, and then there's a traffic light at South Atlantic, and then there's some stop signs going down, right? The amount of bus traffic that's going to be coming down here is completely understandable, and people using it as a detour, because we know that people will find their way to Friendship, right? Regardless, Google, whoever. How can you help with that particular issue at the corner of Wine Biddle and Friendship? Because it's also a blind turn, right? So to go from Wine Biddle down to Liberty Avenue, there's parking on one side so you can't really see. So the way you look at it, you're not going to be able to see if there's cars coming down Friendship, and people tend to, because there's no stop sign there, people tend to fly right there, right? And then they get stopped at Eveline, and then they speed up and get stopped at South Pacific. I mean, I sit on my porch now that I'm retired. So I've been watching this stuff, right? And so I think that there is, to your point, the idea of modeling the increased traffic becomes really, really important now, because it's going to happen, and we know it. And then I also just want to make sure that no parking will be impacted along Friendship Avenue, because the section that you're looking at doesn't have alleys. And so even with the temporary speed humps, which I'm grateful for, that nobody loses parking, because there's no alleyway access, there's no driveways, there's no parking paths.
Yep, nope.
Okay.
Now we're just putting the speed up.
We're passing it around now ourselves.
Any more questions?
All good.
Who's the PM for, I know I'm not asked, who's the PM for Penn on this project?
Under construction, it's Amy Mitchell, but Lori Miles is going to be our construction phase person.
So,
Yeah, oh yeah. Sorry.
do you have further questions? Like, Mike, yourself?
Just a question, the fully distributed buildings, like project, do you know the timeline off the top of your head for that one?
Not off the top of my head, but I jotted it
I
down.
don't remember your top of your head. Oh, gosh, only it was like, they extended the permit.
6 months. Is the slide before for the website, is that where we find the presentation?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so if you go to Engage, if you just like Google Engage Pittsburgh, Penn Avenue, you'll find it.
And can we just reinforce, I think accessibility for everybody is really important. So not just like electronic ways of communicating, but there are a lot of people that don't communicate like this. So kind of acknowledging that there are folks that don't use email, don't use websites. I think that's really, really important. I've noticed it a lot in the neighborhood because there's a lot of older folks that are going to be part of this that don't have this information.
And I was gonna say, we'll be working, sorry, go ahead, James.
We can work with the D9 office in Yon to set up a day where we'll come out and flyer the houses. Yeah, there's no problem. We've done it before for the Stanton Avenue project, and we can do that again. We'll maybe sometime in February make sure they get out there.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, we plan to work with the neighborhood groups and everything to get that information out too for kind of dissemination to the people.
Do you plan on coordinating with People's Gas on the pipeline replacement project if this intersects, or if like
so that's what we're working
detours?
with our permits group to get it cleared out before we start on this project. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we will post the slides and the recording of this onto the Engage page. And yeah, if you have not signed up with the sign-in sheet, or you can reach it out to Jan. You can go to the Engage page for those future updates. But thanks for coming, everybody. I don't know if there's pizza left. Grab some before it goes, because I'm on my bike. Thank you.